But then you also get all that extra stuff that we talked about. You get early access to all the content before anyone else gets it. You get the double XP.
Double XP.
Play and playing the VIP playlist all the time, which is awesome.
Yep.
And then you get the skins and the characters that no one else is going to get as well. So our season pass, we really tried to take it to the next level. We really tried to up that value to our fans and try to give them a lot of what they wanted.
All right, back to Twitter using the hashtag GearsJudgment. Next question up: will the mature filters, gore, and language be returning? It was a great option to have in Gears.
Yeah, they're all in there. Yep, so absolutely they'll be back for you.
So that's people who don't really prefer the blood and whatnot. They can kind of dial it back a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, actually, I kind of use that in multiplayer. I dial it because I can turn it off. That way, it's not on the lens. That's my pro tip. All right, let's go to the next question on Twitter. Gears Judgment. There you go. Is there a good game for new players to join the Gears of War universe? Or do you recommend playing the previous games? Because there's a lot of games. This is now the 4th game. So tell us where should we start at the beginning, or tell us about that?
This is a great place to start. So you don't have to worry about, in Gears 1, 2, and 3, like starting in Gears 2, you don't know what happened. You don't have that. There's a standalone story. You don't need the background of what happened in the original trilogy. And then we have all this additional stuff. We talked about Aftermath, which actually takes place during Gears of War 3. It's a slice of what the Gears 3 campaign was like. So you get the Judgment campaign, you unlock Aftermath, and then you get to play a little bit of Gears 3. And then on those initial shipments of the game, we have a code to download Gears of War 1 digitally. For free.
So wait a minute. So when you buy the game, you're going to get basically Gears of 1 free to download.
Yeah, that's right. And so you get Judgment, you get 1, you get a slice of 3, you get like that whole stretch of what we've done in the franchise, which I think is awesome.
Lots of Gears. All right, back to Twitter. Hashtag Gears Judgment. Fire them our way. We will try to answer them. In your opinion, is Gears of War Judgment more difficult than the previous games?
No, I wouldn't say it's more difficult. It's definitely, there's definitely a sense of urgency and intensity that you haven't seen before in a Gears of War title. I mean, going back before Gears of War 1 to when the Locust invasion is fresh and new and that people are still trying to react to it, brings a sense of intensity and urgency that you haven't seen before.
Okay, I do think it's more strategic as well, just based on the smart spawn system and having to look to see how you're going to get through there. You do have to be a little bit more strategic than maybe you were in the past.
All right, let's go to another question on Twitter. Let's bring this one up. Is there going to be an awesome girl character to play? Green Fairy LV. Let's see. Green Fairy would like.
I'm guessing. Yes. Sophia Hendrick is a brand new character. She's a young rookie in the COG military. She's part of Kilo Squad, and so she makes an appearance in the game. One of my favorites is Alex Brand, who's a comic book character, and if you go pre-order the game at the Microsoft store, you get her as part of that incentive. And so 2 really cool female characters right there. And of course, we have Anya returning as an incentive as well. So
there you go. All right, now we still have one more gameplay showcase to highlight. So this time we're going to take a look at the Declassified missions. Guys, let's bring that up on the studio in here in studio for folks at home. Tell us about the Declassified missions and what that means.
Yeah, so declassification system is a completely new system specific to the primary campaign of Gears of War Judgment. It's an optional system. So what you saw was that crimson omen on the wall indicating it's available to you, and there's 40 plus of these available to you
throughout the campaign.
Throughout the primary campaign. Okay. And these declassifications do 3 things. One is they change the rule set. So what you're seeing right here is that reduced visibility and the enemies are meleeing you.
They are rushing right in on
because this player's opted into it. The second thing that it does is it increases challenge, and so you see the star system on the top left where it's counting up your kind of performance. Well, if you opt into the declassification system, it gives you a star multiplier, so you earn more stars, which in turn means you get a whole bunch of additional content. You unlock additional content that way. And the last thing that it really does is it changes the way that the story is told. And the idea that Kilo Squad is being judged through a tribunal, well, the declassification system will change the story. If you don't opt into it, you'll just hear the normal testimony. But if you opt into it, you're going to hear a change in the testimony, a change in the VO about, hey, this is what really happened during that period.
And you mentioned something interesting there, is that Barrett's giving his testimony, and you're actually playing that out as the story progresses, right?
Exactly. As you play through and as you're giving your testimony, you get to play as the different characters giving their testimony. So you're going to hear the judge say, hey, we asked you to do this thing, and you went off, but it went horribly wrong. Recount to me exactly what you did and why.
Now, I want to get back to the declassified missions here. Tell us about some of the different variables. We're seeing, obviously, there's a fog here, kind of like we have in the studio, and some short-range weapons, but what are some of the other variables that players are going to encounter in the game?
Yeah, you'll see these environmental effects like fog or smoke. Some of them limit the weapons that you have available to you that you have to use to get through the mission. We have time-based ones, so having to get through it in a certain amount of time. We might throw a different set of enemies at you, like an additional set of a certain type of enemy. They really do change the game quite a bit. And what's great, like Alan said, they're optional. You can try it with it, and then with our system, we have a really easy way to go back and just replay a chapter. So maybe you can go try it without it. Maybe you thought you just want to see how it goes without it.
Now, you guys have played them all. I want to ask you each one. What's your favorites, Alan?
The timer-based ones are a lot of fun because there's already this sense of intensity and urgency, and it's just amplified.
Right.
When you know that the smart spawn system is trying to adjust to you, and now you have a timer restriction on top of that, it's really intense.
All right, there you go. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, actually the one we're watching is one of my favorites. You get this dusty room, and it's really hard to see. And so it changes the way you play the game, especially the way I play the game. I tend to be a little bit more further back, and I like to shoot the guys. And now all of a sudden I can't see, and they're right in my face.
They're rushing at you.
Yeah, I have to change the way I play the game, which is great.
Now, what happens if I don't want to opt into this? You just keep going. How does that impact?
Yeah, you know, you'll still get the main story, and you're still going to play through. You're just not going to get that additional challenge, and you're not going to get that a little bit of additional storytelling to kind of help flesh out the full thing for you.
Sounds great. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on Xbox Live for this world premiere live event. I know it's been a whirlwind tour for both of you. Any final comments for the fans?
Excited to get the game out on March 19th. You know, I want to get on. I want to play. Overrun for me is just so exciting, so I want to get on there and play with a bunch of fans and see how it goes.
Yeah, I can't wait to see everybody online on March 19th.
Well, we're looking forward to that. Before we go, though, there's just a matter of our Twitter giveaway, including several copies of the game and, of course, the custom Gears of War Judgment console. This console isn't being sold at any store, and there are only a handful of these in existence. You guys know that, right?
We're not even getting one.
Now, the selected winners have been finalized. Congratulations to Twitter HawkPride88, Michael Trapani, and thank you everyone else. Keep your eyes out for a direct message on Twitter to see if you won a copy of the game. It's been incredibly exciting to bring all the Gears of War Judgment news directly to the Xbox Live community with tonight's show. If you tuned in late, don't worry. We will be offering a video on demand version of the show in just a few minutes. We'll also be debuting a special behind the scenes look at Domination, the brand new multiplayer mode exclusively on Xbox Live. We'll leave you now with another look at our world premiere for Aftermath. I'm Larry Herb, Xbox Live's Major Nelson. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on Judgment on March 19th.
The easiest way to describe what the Aftermath campaign is, in the context of Gears of War 3, near the end of the game, Marcus and Dom go off in one direction toward Azura, and they send Baird and Cole off to find some supplies.
All right, Baird, Cole, you go find reinforcements. We need transport, weapons, and anyone who can fight.
It just so happened that they went to Havel Bay to go find those reinforcements. And so we had all the pieces kind of put together, and it was like, you know, let's go tell that particular story from Gears 3. You run into Paddock, who's one of the new characters in Judgment, because he's still hanging around that city.
Only cog soldiers are this noisy.
Paddock?
That sidearm can go back where you found it.
I think it's really neat to see Paddock inserted into this point in the timeline of the Gears story. It takes you back, and I think it's a point in time that everyone's going to be excited to see. Ultimately, it's a reward for fans.
Paddock is a Groznian guy. He's kind of the grizzled veteran, former UIR soldier, right? So yeah, he was opposing the COG in the Pendulum Wars, and then when the treaty was signed, right around the time of Emergence Day, he came over to fight for the COG.
Again, it's just a continuation of the story, and just peeling back the onion layer just a little bit deeper to see what else happened during that traumatic time.
We built Aftermath in as an unlock. And so to unlock it, you earn stars. When you play through the main Judgment campaign, you're scored every section that you play through. We have a series of 3 stars that you can earn. You earn those stars by getting ribbons, you know, headshots and executions and those kinds of things. Also just by playing through the mission. If you take a Declassified mission, that will boost your stars.
The declassification system changes the way that you play. It's an optional system that you can choose that'll actually add challenge and make it even more intense than, than it previously was. And also changes the testimony and changes the way that the story is told.
The dust gunked things up pretty good, and the grubs were going in for close kills. Basically,
The very core, the very foundation of what we're trying to do in Judgment is all built on intensity. What led up to that is we had a lot of feelings that games get a little bit too easy these days, right? It's more about the experience as opposed to the challenge. To make it more intense, there's some specific things that we did. One of those is the smart spawn system, and so this was a whole thing that we engineered so that when you get into a battle, when you come into an encounter, what you face will be different every single time.
You might play through once and get, tickers and maulers as you kind of lay back, and then you play through again and you push forward, and now you have wretches and different enemies flanking you. So lots of intensity happening in this game.
Systems like the Smart Spawn system are really cool for us as designers. I mean, yes, it's a challenge because it forces us to think in a different way. In the past, we could always say, okay, X, Y, Z is going to happen, and then when this ticker explodes, then the door is going to open and a boomer's going to walk out, and we can script that experience. So it forces us to rethink a lot of the combat scenarios. In a way, I really like that because it gave us the ability to put more story and more context into the environments and into the world itself, which really helps bring the universe to life a lot more. And I think that's a much better story than anyone we could ever tell, because it's a story that the player themselves gets to tell and experience.
For us, it's a process of evolution. We don't want to just give the same experience over and over again, because that's really an injustice to the fans. And we want to make sure that we're delivering something that's progressing, not just both from a story standpoint, but from a franchise standpoint, but also from a gameplay standpoint.